It's open for three. Dagger!
Wow, that's awesome. Great start to the show. I forgot to add myself to the stage. Hi, welcome back to Well Beyond the Arc. I'm one half of the dream team. Unfortunately, David is a very busy guy and was not able to be here today, but I still thought, hey, let's talk some NBA. Let's talk a little bit of basketball, a little off-season special action we're going to do. We're going to get right into it. Talk about the good, bad, and ugly of different moves, different teams. There's a lot to talk about. We are going to definitely cover every single team, and then there's a couple of rumors, because who doesn't love a rumor? Everyone loves a good rumor. And we're going to cover those at the end. A couple of not very great ones as a Laker fan, but we'll get into that. We're going to start by going over, like I said, each team and different good, bad, and ugly moves that they made. We're going to go in alphabetical order. And I'm not going to say every single player's name. We're going to talk about the good, bad, and ugly. If there's a couple of role players or pieces that were just simply part of a move, either in or out, and that's all it was, I'm probably not going to say their name. So I'm not listing every name. We're just going to get into it. Starting with the Atlanta Hawks, and we are going to do a little letter grade system because we love a letter grade system. So we're starting with the Atlanta Hawks, and anyone that is watching right now, if you are able to or want to, feel free to drop a comment if you agree with what I'm saying, disagree, whatever. It's usually disagree, but maybe today it'll be a little bit different. So starting with the Atlanta Hawks. First of all, they had a big overhaul, but they also gained a lot of pieces. A couple of pieces that have been with them for a while, like Clint Capella, solid player, solid piece. I think it's best for everybody what's happening on both sides for this specific trade. And we'll get into where Capella's going in a little bit, and I actually think it will be better for his career. But obviously, moving on from him, moving on from Terrence Mann, moving on from Larry Nance Jr., these are pieces that some of them have been around a few seasons, some of them have been around less, but they've all had some sort of impact on this team. But it has definitely not been in the win column because this is a team that had a huge surgence in 2020, and everyone thought that they were the team and that they were a team, and I was one of them, maybe not everybody. I thought, and several other people thought, that the Hawks were going to be the real deal. And then they went up, and next season, right back down, and they have not been the same team since. I mean, this is a team that went into the Garden and shut New York up and made a statement, and now they're struggling to even make it to the postseason, which is why the Hawks might be one of the best teams, the teams that have made the best moves this offseason. I'm talking Porzingis. I'm talking Luke Kennard. I'm talking players, Walker. I'm talking players that are going to help the players that they already have, like Trae Young, I mean, he is one of the most exciting electric players in the league, and it is so unfair that he is in the situation he is in because he deserves better than that. So for me, I think that the Hawks are going to be – I'm not going to talk crazy because, listen, I'm the same guy that said the 76ers are going to make a big push, and guess what? They did make a push to the bottom of the rankings. And I thought that they were going to have this amazing season with or without Joel Embiid, and we know what happened. So one of my many takes that fell flat. So I'm not going to say anything crazy and say they're going to be a top 4 or 5 team. But I do believe that the Hawks will be a comfortable play-in tournament team that makes the playoffs and makes it past the first round. Again, I'm not going to sit over here and say that I think that the Hawks are going to be within reach of just playoffs. They're going to have to fight for it in that play-in, but I do believe they're going to make it through the play-in with ease and then make it to at least the second round. And maybe they're a sleeper team. We've seen 7th and 8th seeds be sleeper teams, and this Hawk team is looking like they could be a sleeper team. Now, again, Porzingis, championship player, but has problems with injuries, and even when he's on the court sometimes, we don't always see him. He's very hot cold. So because he's won a chip, because he does have a very special skill set when he's on, I do think he's going to be probably their biggest addition. And again, with their subtractions, to me, they're losing some players that have been there for a little while, but they're gaining more than they're losing. So shout out to the Atlanta Hawks. I'm going to give them a B+. B+, not B-, not B. Give me B+. Boston Celtics, boo, boo. I hate the Celtics so much, so much. Like, I don't even want to talk about them. I'm going to. I hate them. There are a few people in my life from like when I grew up and like played football and got picked on by some of the kids I played football with. I might hate those people a little bit more, but the Celtics are right up there. The Celtics lost Holiday, Horford, Craig, Porzingis, like we already talked about, RIP, RIP. Except I'm not mad at all because I hate the Celtics. Now, hold on. We can't just sit here and trash the Celtics. They did add Garza. They did add a few pieces. Simmons, I'd say Garza and Simmons, of all the pieces that they added, Garza and Simmons are the two that to me are going to add depth. And they're not just going to add depth, they're going to add a little bit more. We're going to see them be utilized on the court. Georges might also get utilized. I just don't know what is going to happen. And we have a rumor to talk about at the end of the show. Is a certain Celtic about to become a Laker? Probably not, but we're going to get into it anyway. So I'm not going to waste any time. They lost, to me, they lost more than they gained. Tatum is out. Brown is who I think is going to be the person that they rely on the most. Obviously, I mean, he's the guy. He's been the guy. It's been Batman and Robin the whole time. People don't give Brown his flowers for what he's helped that Celtic team accomplish and maintain that success that they have pretty much the entire time him and Tatum have been there. So for me, from us, this is Dennis, by the way, named after Dennis Rodman. We've got Dennis and we've got Howie named after Dwight Howard. But we're going to go with the Celtics lost more than they gained, and give me a C+. And boo, I hate them so much. Give me a C+. They're going to do something. What is it going to be? Time will tell. They're not winning the championship. They're not making it past the second round. And that's all there is to it. Brooklyn Nets. This is an interesting team because they also gained a lot, but also lost a lot. I would say they gained more than they lost. Obviously, they lost D'Angelo Russell, who second stint as a Brooklyn Net. And so, 2 stints, no rings, no deep playoff pushes. They're not going to miss him that much. Johnson is a little bit of a bigger loss to me because to me he was a bigger piece of that team and was more consistent and had more success. But I mean, we're looking at they didn't give up any marquee players because they don't have any marquee players. Did they add marquee players? Well, if you consider Michael Porter Jr. and Terrence Mann marquee players, I would say I wouldn't consider either of them marquee players, but they've added depth in positions that they needed, and they have a little bit more leverage. Whether or not they use that in the future for a star or for space, whatever they do, I feel like they gain more than they lost. You're getting Mann, you're getting Porter Jr., you're getting Powell, you're getting a couple of pieces that are honestly pretty solid. And I apologize. I usually have a whole thing and I'm ready and prepared. I didn't think I was going to do this today. So I am not really prepared. So I'm having to look over and whatever. But I appreciate anyone that is tuning in and viewing this and hopefully enjoying it at least a little bit. And then you added Wolf. You drafted Wolf. And I think that is going to be an underrated pickup. So Brooklyn Nets, you got some young pieces. You lost some young pieces. You gained a little bit of depth in positions where you haven't had depth, and we see players like a Michael Porter Jr. He's another player often on the court. When he's on the court, he's gone sometimes. Also, thank you, Lord. I was at the last Lakers game that we played against the Nuggets in their home court. Mike Malone's last game against the Lakers, I saw him crash out, and I'm so thankful. I'm very thankful today more than ever that I was able to witness that moment. It's a highlight. So anyways, but before I went into that whole thing, the point is Michael Porter Jr., if he's healthy and is connected enough on the court and is consistent enough, could have a breakout season and could be a piece that really makes people like, wow, the Nuggets made a mistake. So I don't think that is 100% going to happen, and I don't think the Nets are going to make the play in even. Maybe they could be a 10 seed. I can see them being a 10 seed or a 9 seed, maybe, but that is super, super generous. I don't see them doing that much. I do think that they're going to be a team that's pretty unproductive, but I think they're going to be moving in the right direction. Brooklyn Nets, give me a D plus. A D plus. I got plenty of those in school, so I'm very familiar with them. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. But seriously though, give me a D plus. It's not C is like it's right there, but we're not quite there. Charlotte Hornets, an interesting team. They lost Seth Curry. Sims is a pretty big player. Williams, they actually lost now. Listen, that whole thing was awesome. The Williams situation. A little swap, little swip swap, little get your hopes up a little bit, and then whew, it happens from time to time, and it happened to them. So again, you're losing a lot of these teams, you'll notice, have lost a lot of role players and a lot of pieces that are possibly not even going to be utilized on their next team. This is a team that's kind of in the middle. Nurkic is a pretty big loss. Sims to me is a decently big loss. Williams is the player that I am disappointed that as a Lakers fan, we did not get to actually have him on our roster and on our team. And so for me, I'm like, that's really disappointing, but I'm not sure if there are any Charlotte Hornets fans in the chat, which I don't even know if there are very many of them that still watch the game of basketball. But if there are, how do you feel about the losses? How do you feel about Mark Williams being traded? When we talk about players they added, Dinwiddie is a very, very, very good player. I've been a big Dinwiddie fan since I started Well Beyond the Arc, since we started Well Beyond the Arc. Colin Sexton is another player that he is more marquee than a lot of the players they had. And also he is an electric player. He's a spark plug player. And I think he really could help the team. Mason Plumlee is a pretty solid role player. I mean, he's obviously getting up there in age and he might not be what he was, but that's a pretty solid salary. Even Pat, for me, is a pretty big pickup. So I'm honestly thinking that the Charlotte Hornets are going to have a much improved season. Now, listen, how much improved of a season? Not exponentially. They're not going to go on a big run. They, I think, are going to be a 9th or 10th seed. That's kind of what I'm giving them. Maybe I think their ceiling, the Charlotte Hornets ceiling is an 8th seed. I think their floor is the 11th seed. I have them landing somewhere in the middle around the 10th seed. So for that, I do think they've made improvements that will help them be a more competitive team in the East, because the East is growing increasingly competitive. And I think the Hornets made moves to keep up with that. So for me, I'm not a Hornets fan. Never have been, never will be, but I do feel like they've made enough adjustments to make a little bit of a push. So give me a C plus. I'm going to give them a C plus. I think they're going to have some noticeable differences that are going to show up in the win column. Moving on, we've got the Bulls. They lost a couple of pieces. Lonzo Ball, which we'll talk about his landing plays because it's a big one. Now, Lonzo Ball is a player that if you were a Bull fan, you might have been a little frustrated because he came in, had a pretty solid looking little stint, and then was out with injuries to the point where people thought he was done playing basketball. I'm so happy that he's not. Shout out to Lonzo Ball for still being able to play the game. I'm really excited to see him play this next season. Josh Giddey, free agent. He's gone. He's out of there. It is what it is. I'm never going to get over when he made that, was it a full court shot? There's moments when I'm like, if that game happened right now, I don't know, because I was watching it live. When I worked in Hawaii, I'd watch the games on my phone or on the computer, and I was watching it live, and it was fun. It was like, wow, did this really just happen, fellas? It was foreshadowing for the postseason. I thought we were going to go a little bit further than the first round. We didn't. It happens. Horton Tucker, love him. Miss him. Come on back, pal. I miss him. What can I say? It is what it is. When we talk about players added, they added a few players that will make them a little bit better. But honestly, we're looking at a lot of draft pickups and a lot of younger pieces. I don't think that they're really going to do anything special. I think the Bulls are going to have a pretty unsuccessful season. I think that the pickups that they picked up, awesome little use of words there. I think that their pickups show that they're in a major rebuild, like major rebuild mode. So for me, these are rebuild pickups. They re-signed Trey Jones and Emmanuel Miller, but again, it's not. These aren't the players that you offer these extensions to and these contracts to that are going to make you a winner next season. They could be playing the long game. Those are players that have had success in the league and could help them in their rebuild, but I think it's a total rebuild. I'm giving the Bulls a D for their offseason. Cleveland Cavaliers, okay, this is where we get a little interesting. Cleveland Cavaliers, and we'll talk about them a little bit later in our rumor conversations because they've came up in rumor talks. I'm sure you can connect the dots there. They lost a couple of pieces. They lost Ty Jerome. They lost Okoro. They lost Tristan. I mean, Tristan Thompson is Tristan Thompson. That's not a big loss because he's not the Tristan Thompson from even what would it be like 8 years ago. He's slowly declined, and obviously it's shown with his bounce around and his inconsistency to be on the court. But so yeah, they lost a couple players. They lost Green, they lost Bates, they lost a few pieces. Who did they add though? Lonzo Ball, Larry Nance Jr., and they drafted Proctor, and they re-signed Merrill, and they re-signed Travers. This is going to be a scary team. People don't understand that this team has been very illegitimate for several seasons. They'd either be a solid first half or second half team or a solid entire regular season team. You get to the playoffs, that goes away. That is not going to happen. This team added depth. They added pieces that are fun to watch. They added defense. They added offense. They are a dangerous team. This Cleveland team is legit, and I will stand on that hill all of next season. If they have a 10-game losing streak, they could listen to me. Stay with me now. They could have a 10-game losing streak to start the season, and I'm going to say they're winning the East. Excuse me, they're winning the East. What can I say? I believe that they have what it takes. I truly, truly, truly do. And I've been someone that's been on the other side of that for most of my time doing this show. So again, adding players like Ball, Nance, and Proctor, those are three pieces that are going to add so much depth and so much to this team. So I'm very excited. I'm not a Cavaliers fan. If the rumors that I'm hearing and seeing are true, and something happens, I will hate them so much. I will be so. I don't have no Cavs jerseys. I don't think. I was like, that would be rough, but we're going to go into that later. Dallas Mavericks is interesting. You lost Dinwiddie. You lost Edwards, Exum, Jones. You lost several players that were obviously a part of your championship run, part of decently successful teams. But then we think about, okay, this Mavs team, since they won the chip with Dirk, has been in this weird middle zone in the West. And they've had a few seasons where they've slipped below the middle and slipped under the surface and been one of the worst teams. But they've been a pretty consistent middle of the pack Western Conference team. But that's been all they've been, even with the great Luka Magic. I saw it firsthand and it was beautiful. I almost cried. Tears of joy. I was this close. Inconsolable almost. But no, it was amazing. And he is a great player. But they haven't been able to build a team like they had in 2011. And they haven't been able to build a team. Well, they're building. D'Angelo Russell, it adds depth to a position that they need depth in. And also with Kyrie rehabbing and taking his time, you need to have at least a competent. And he's competent. He's fine. He's okay. He's middle of the pack. He's okay. He's a great backup. And he will be a great player to be in that starting position and to have more minutes while they await other players to come back. And then Cooper Flag. And I don't even know. I mean, they got Cleveland. They got a couple other players. They got Kelly. There's a few other pieces that they added. And Miles Kelly, do not get it twisted. He is a hooper. He's an absolute baller. They picked up several undrafted players, and they did not do that on accident. I do truly believe that this Mavs team is going to be a scary team. And that's coming from a Lakers fan that is extremely happy that we got Luka, because that's an investment for the future. That's a future investment. That's a long-term investment. And those are pretty special. But no, I don't think that they are going to win a championship. What I will say is this, or let me rephrase that. I'm not like they're the clear-cut winners for this championship this next season, but I think that their chances have skyrocketed. Skyrocketed to a place where they have not been since 2011. And as great as Luka is, I don't think they wouldn't have gotten there without making that move. So you can hate Nico all you want. I still think he's an idiot. He really is. Curry didn't want to work with him when he was an exec at whatever shoe company. So like when a prolific, amazing player and an amazing generational talent doesn't want to work with someone, that's usually a sign that there's something going on. So for me, Nico is an idiot, and I'm not giving any credit to what's going on to Nico. I truly think that they've built something. They bounced back from what could have been awful, and I think they're going to make it big. Kyrie Irving resigns. Gafford resigns. These are two players that are major pieces. Irving, more than Gafford, obviously. Irving has the best handles in NBA history, and he's an absolute bucket. And he is another, I said, generational talent with Curry. Irving's another one. Irving is a hardworking, misunderstood NBA legend that is going to go down as one of the best to do it. And so for me, as much as I would have enjoyed seeing him in a Lakers jersey at some point, I think the Mavs is a really, really, really good setup for him. And I think despite Luka being shipped out, everything happening pretty much right after he got there, I still think he seems like he's the most comfortable overall that he's been in any place he's played. So shout out to Kyrie Irving. The Mavs offseason, from getting several undrafted players that are, again, look out for them, as well as Cooper Flagg and then D'Angelo Russell, and then re-sign who they re-signed. I've got to be honest. I've got to give them an A. I think it's hard for me to say that. I'm almost tempted to knock it down to a B+, but I've got to give them an A because they had an A. Cooper Flagg is an A sign. And here's the thing. I'm not getting high off of one player off of Summer League. No. There's going to be stepping stones. There's going to be games where has this welcome to the NBA moment, but he is going to be a force right away. And it's just a sign that they're setting the table for the future, because AD realistically is not going to be part of the future of that team past 2-3 more seasons max, probably. So you're investing in the future with Cooper Flagg, and even with a player like Russell and a few other, and these players that they got from the draft, or from undrafted players, it just shows they're investing. So they give me an A. Denver Nuggets, I hate them. I hate them so much. I hate them. Yeah, I really don't like them. And this comes from seeing us get our asses kicked again and again and again, live on TV, in my dreams. It's all kinds of places. And so it's not fun. And whatever rating I give them is not going to be because I absolutely hate them and can't stand them. But yeah, let's go through it. They lost Michael Porter Jr. They lost Hall. They lost DeAndre Jordan. They lost Alexander. They lost Westbrook, which got to say something about Westbrook in a second. They added Bruce Brown Jr. That pickup made sense, and I was like, all right. They added Tim Hardaway Jr. They added Cameron Johnson. They added Valanciunas. These all make sense. Let's be completely serious. Everyone they added makes sense for different reasons. I am still putting my hand. I'm not going to put my hand on the Bible and swear to this, but this is how serious I am. I know in my heart that one of my predictions that is a little out there is going to come true. I just know it. This is the one. Goodbye. I can't even remember his name. He's yesterday. Why can't I remember his name? I know his name. Jamal Murray. Goodbye. bye, you're done. He's gone. I know. And when they added players like Tim Hardaway Jr., Bruce Brown, when they added some smaller pieces, he's gone. Maybe they're going to give it one more season, but the Nuggets are committed to keeping Joker there. Joker is their piece. Joker is their person. Joker is a huge part of the sports community of Colorado. And like, he means a lot because they haven't had a lot of championship success within the last 20 years, but they have had little stints. Broncos, now the Nuggets. I'm pretty sure NHL. They've had stints of success, and they want to keep that. And Joker is Joker is so. He's insane. He is. I can't even lie. As much as I dislike the Nuggets, I've got to respect Joker. I mean, I used to say Joker was overrated, and like that's awesome. That's a great take. Maybe that's that is up there with the 76ers take, but I think that's been my worst take because he is the best passing big man of all time, and he is super, super consistent and literally puts up a triple-double like it's nothing. Now on to Westbrook. I am hoping he retires. I really am. Or has a landing spot that makes sense to finish his career. He gets a lot of disrespect and a lot of hate, and people forget that he literally is one of the only players to have done what he did and to average what he averaged. And I'm one of them. Listen. Sometimes a man sits down and realizes he was wrong. Yeah. But so I think I was wrong about Westbrook. Now the Nuggets that's not where they're going to get the rating I'm going to give them. But I think it is a loss because he does add a lot to the teams. And seeing his aggression and his determination against the Lakers to beat us, a lot of their other players gave up. A lot of the Nuggets gave up and were frustrated. And I saw with my own two eyes him have determination until the end. So Westbrook plays the sport of basketball in a beautiful way, except when he's shooting threes. Ayo, just kidding. His threes are okay. As a Lakers fan, I still wake up and have nightmares. Okay, Nuggets rating. C. If my theory is correct and they are trying to stack the deck and prepare for a future without Murray, and that is not going to mean that they're going to just keep the guards and the pieces they have now. They're obviously going to make a move to try to pair Joker up with another star. But if that is what they're doing, it's both good and bad because it's possibly good for their future, but also it's not a great look and a not great way to go into the season. And I could be totally wrong. This could be just adding depth and just being smart because they've had injury problems. But I do think that they're preparing for a future without Jamal Murray. C. Yeah. Guess what? Detroit Pistons. This one's going to be fun. Malik Beasley. Well, listen, it all makes sense now. There's a theory that he's paying people to fix games or sorry. Hold on. That he was missing shots on purpose to make bets and to make parlay. And as a Lakers fan, remembering him on our team, how many insane like open and great shots he missed, yikes. It seems like it's real. They lost Tim Hardaway Jr. They lost Schroeder. They lost Waters. They lost Jerkins. They lost Harper. They lost a couple of pieces that helped get them to where they got, because people forget the Pistons were one of the worst teams and they had an insane snap jump that a lot of people forget because it didn't end in a championship like the OKC Thunder that had a pretty snap jump as well. But I would say Detroit had a bigger, more dramatic snap jump. And now let's talk about who they added. Duncan Robinson, solid role player. LeVert, solid player. Lanier, solid. Jones, solid. Re-signed Paul Reed Jr. They made enough moves and they didn't lose. To me, they didn't lose enough for this to be a low rating. They didn't gain. There were a few pieces that I thought they were going to go after. There were a few pieces that I am kind of still surprised they didn't go after that I thought that they could have had, especially with the success they had last season. I think they're a more attractive place for people to end up, but there's still They're still the Pistons, and honestly, I think that they have got a little bit of time until they're a team that's going to add a star piece to their roster. But I think it's coming. I think next summer or the summer following, you're going to see the Pistons add someone huge, and they're not going to fall off. They're not a one-hit wonder. They are going to be the third, fourth, or fifth seed this next season. You heard it here first. They're not falling. They're not having a. I said this earlier. The Hawks. No, that's not going to be them. That's not. They're a different team. They're built. They have the coaching. They have a lot of the pieces you need to be successful. So because they didn't lose a bigger, they didn't lose more than they got. For me, it's a C. It's a C because, again, you added some depth, you added some offense and really some defense too that you needed to get you over the hump in some of those games, especially in the postseason. But I don't think they didn't they didn't lose or gain enough for it to be a dramatic grade. So it's a C for me. What can I say? Golden State lost a couple players, Knox, Looney, Gary Payton II. These are players that were very crucial. Kuminga, I don't even think I said Kuminga. I think I skipped him maybe. Wow. That's losing a lot, but it makes you wonder what the Warriors are preparing for. Or on the flip side, if the Warriors just feel like they've found what they need. And Draymond Green said it best. He said adding Jimmy Butler literally gave them another shot at a title. And I agree. A shot, sure. Are they going to win it for sure? No. There's nothing is guaranteed in life and in basketball. And so for me, a shot. I'll give them a shot. That's about all I can give them, though. There's literally 10 teams total that I would say have a shot at winning the title this next year. And maybe there's even a few more because honestly, OKC has proven that even if you give a team expectations that are decently high, they could blow the roof off of that. And that is exactly what OKC did. The Warriors, for me, I do think they're cooking something up. Obviously, the offseason is getting towards the back half, but they could be whipping something up. Don't underestimate the Warriors front office because they have made decently good moves, and that has resulted in a lot of championships and a lot of memorable seasons. And so for me, Golden State, losing Kuminga, losing Looney, losing Payton II, that's a hit because a lot of these players are players that have been in Warriors culture for the long haul, and that's hard. Clay's gone now. It's really a new era in Golden State, and that is what this offseason tells me. And that also makes me wonder, what are the Warriors cooking up? Because I don't think they're done yet. Now, that's maybe not going to end in what some people are thinking, some of the major dramatic shifts, but I still think something's going to shift for sure. Golden State, give me a C+. Give me a C+ because I think even though they did lose considerable, very large pieces of championships and just very large pieces of Warriors culture and Warriors memories of the last few seasons. That is a big loss. But again, I feel a shift. I feel like they know what they're doing. And so I'm giving them a C+ because I think they're cooking something up. And maybe it's not now. Maybe it's for the trade deadline. Maybe it's for next summer. But this team that they're going to go into the season with, they're going to be a competitive team. They're going to be a playoff team. So, yeah, Warriors are going to be exciting to watch. Having Butler the whole season is going to be big. Houston Rockets, this is interesting. They lost Dylan Brooks. They lost Green. They lost a few different pieces. Williams Jr. was a decent, has had some decent minutes overall. Rowdy's also been a player that's honestly been moved around, and there's a few players that have been kind of without saying too many words, because I'm having some trouble right now, they made moves that were super smart, and I did not expect it. I to be completely honest with you guys, I have not been drinking the Houston Rockets Kool-Aid, but I'm drinking it a little bit now. You add Clint Capella, you add Crawford, you add Dorian Finney-Smith, and then Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant. You re-signed Steven Adams, you re-signed Jeff Green, you re-signed Smith Jr., you re-signed Fred VanVleet. I mean, this offseason was so calculated. This was a calculated offseason for this team. Kevin Durant, the Durantula. A man sometimes needs to admit when he's wrong. Hey, that's me. And I've said that a few times on this live. I was also wrong about Kevin Durant. Well, timeout. I've been a little bit too hard on Kevin Durant in the sense of criticizing his downfalls, but without acknowledging the absolute talent he is. Top 20 scorer all time, any position. Kevin Durant scores like it's nobody's business. And then you want to see big moments on defense. You want to see big I mean, Kevin Durant does it all in big games. So his leadership has fallen flat at times. Certain aspects of his game has fallen flat at times. But to me, Kevin Durant is going to go in and have an enjoyable last few seasons in the NBA. I think he will retire a Rocket, and I think he will go in and he's going to have some really, really memorable moments. And then let's say Kevin Durant goes down with an injury, because let's be honest, ever since he went down in the finals with Golden State, he's not been the same player health-wise. If he goes down, the Rockets are prepared for that. The Rockets aren't building this team around Durant. The problem teams have had is let's build our team. Let's shape our team around Durant. Durant's along for the ride. The Rockets were going to be a force in the NBA this season with or without Durant. And then you add Durant and you re-sign VanVleet and you do all these different moves, these calculated moves. It's masterful. It is literally what makes the NBA offseason exciting, and it's what gives fans something to look forward to for the season. And so, bravo. Houston Rockets, that's awesome. Houston Rockets story really quick. During COVID, it was 2021. I drove up to Houston from Nebraska, and I did it straight there. Went to a Lakers-Rockets game, and then straight back. It was awful. James Harden's last game as a Rocket before he went to the Nets. I got home, and then the trade happened. It was crazy. That was when LeBron did the shoot and then turn around, and I have a video of it, and it was awesome. Anyways, but no, shout out Houston. Rockets made major moves. I got to give them an A. They're also an A. For who they re-signed. And then again, they lost some pieces, but they gained so much more than they lost. And again, calculated, and it was very purposeful. Next up is the Pacers. They lost quite a bit. They didn't just lose the finals. They lost a lot of pieces too. Miles Turner, Johnson, Freeman, Bryant. Several of those players I just listed were major parts of what got them to the finals. You add James Wiseman. I love James Wiseman. I've been a big Wiseman fan, and I actually think he will do a good job. He's not the same player as like a Miles Turner, but I think he'll come in and fill the void and be a really good part of the team. Jones, I think Jones is going to surprise some people. A second-round draft pick. I think he's going to come in and make a pretty big change for this team in certain places that they need. But Halliburton is obviously out, and you lose Miles Turner, who was literally with them for so long, and you lose Johnson, and you lose Bryant, which Bryant was a pretty big piece for them. So Pacers lost way more than they gained. They really did. They're going to be a team that tanks. I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they'll be a seventh seed team, 7th or 8th seed. I don't know. They're losing a lot. So give me a C minus. Give me C minus. Los Angeles Clippers. Los Angeles Flippers. Listen, guys, I wish that I didn't have to do this, but I do. The Clippers had a really good offseason. They truly didn't lose that many pieces. Norman Powell, Patty Mills, they lost a few really key depth pieces that have been key on several teams, but they added Bradley Beal. They added John Collins. They added Brook Lopez. They added Chris Paul. Now listen, Chris Paul, we're going to get into that in a second. I'll finish. Miller, Harden, a couple of players that were re-signed. Batum and then Flower. I mean, this is another. I'm not going to say it's definitely not as good as the Rockets, but they had a really impressive offseason that pisses me off to no end as a Lakers fan. Especially because I was like, bro, Brooke Lopez, we could really use you, pal. Chris Paul, John Collins, these are all Bradley Beal. We could have used you guys. And you're going down the street. What are we doing here? Very disappointed because again, they hit the ball out of the park. Chris Paul still is Chris Paul. He's not going to give you what he could give you, even when he was in an OKC jersey, which sometimes people forget he was in an OKC jersey for one season. I think it was only one season. He's not going to give you that. He's definitely not going to give you Houston Rockets, James Paul, but he is going to, or Chris Paul, James Paul, a little bit of a mix. He's not going to give you that. He's not going to give you vintage Clippers. He might have moments, but it's going to be fun. I'm excited. As much as I dislike the Clippers, I am excited to see him suit back up for them. I'm going to give them a B+. I'm not going to knock them up to an A, but this is a team that is going to be competing for a top 4 seed in the West. I really, truly believe that with who they added. Now we got to get to the tough one. The Los Angeles Lakers lost Smith, lost a couple pieces. I mean, really the biggest player I'm disappointed that we lost is Smith. That's really the only one. Because Markieff Morris, Shake, I mean, these are players that I can live without them. I'm not gonna stay up at night and lose sleep. Who did we add? DeAndre Ayton. Okay. Sure. Marcus Smart. I like that one. I really like that one. Re-sign Jackson Hayes, which Hayes, especially playing with Luka, I think Hayes is really going to be utilized. LaRavia, hey, I'm just the messenger. Is a good pickup. I do know who he is. I don't know how to say his name. I do know who he is. And then a couple of undrafted pickups that, again, I think people underestimate. There's a lot of undrafted talent. Now, a lot of time doesn't translate directly to the NBA right away, but I think there is definitely reason to believe that the Lakers got themselves some diamonds in the rough with some of their undrafted pickups. DeAndre Ayton is fine. He's serviceable at defense. He's not a defensive player by any means. He's another player I talked about, Porzingis, that's very hot, cold, gets injured quite a bit. So I'm not like super, super happy, and it doesn't make me feel very confident. I was really hoping we'd get an, Joker, but I didn't expect that. But I was hoping we were going to make a push for like a Brooke Lopez. That Brooke Lopez was someone that I really hoped that we would be able to acquire, and we did not. But we did acquire a center at least, and we needed that. We needed size. We needed someone that plays at an all-star level, and DeAndre Ayton definitely does that offensively, and he has his moments defensively, and I'm hoping he develops and has some strength added to him defensively. Marcus Smart is awesome. I love that one. That's probably the first, Luka, but that's a trade. That's the first, signing that's really made me happy in quite a while. He adds offense, but he adds defense, and you need that. You need that at that position, but you need that entirely for your team, and the Lakers need consistent defense. And then we'll talk later about rumors and some more talks with 2 Laker players that I have not mentioned yet. What do I give this offseason? I give it a C+. I wish I could move it up to a B, but I cannot. I can't. As an actual Lakers fan that isn't going to pretend like this is the greatest pickup we've ever had, it's a C+. I hope I'm proven wrong and it ends up being better than a C+. Moving on, we've got the Memphis Grizzlies. They lost Bagley. They lost Bane. They lost Luke Kennard. They lost pieces that to me have been a part. Now, have they had success recently? Not really, no. They really have not. Now, you re-signed Jaren Jackson Jr., and that's really the highlight of their offseason was re-signing him, because that was another player that I was wondering, or it was a reconstruct. He didn't get re-signed, but it was extended, or I don't know. Either way, he's staying, and I thought he was going to possibly up and leave with the state of the team. but again, they really, the pieces that they added, that they signed, a lot of them to me. I mean, Contavious Caldwell Pope is a baller, and I think that's one piece that they seriously drafted. Cedric Coward is also there's a couple of pieces that I do think that they seriously signed, and then there's a few that I think they're going to use to try to trade and throw into a package either later in the season or next season. So I'm going to give them a D plus. We'll throw the plus in there, but they're a team that was in need of some major moves. And again, they made a few moves, but it's not major enough for the state of that team. Miami Heat lost a couple of pieces. Kevin Love is not the Kevin Love he used to, but that's still a pretty big name and a pretty big part of that team in certain aspects. Duncan, especially locker room, he's a huge locker room presence. Duncan Robinson is one of the bigger pieces, like playing wise, that they lost. Burks, Kyle Anderson, they lost a couple of pieces that they lost them. I mean, it is what it is. They added Norman Powell. That's a pretty good pickup for them. Other than that, though, that's really their pickup that to me is going to make a difference right away and indefinitely. You never know about some of the players they drafted and picked up undrafted, but for me, Norman Powell is really the one player that they added. The Miami Heat are a rebuild team. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to give them a solid D. They're rebuilding. They're in major rebuild mode. They will not win another championship with what is his name, Pat Riley. I'm sorry, Pat. You're not going to see another one, buddy. Legend. Legend, honestly, but I don't think so. I think that's about it. Milwaukee Bucks. This one's going to be interesting. They lost Brook Lopez. They lost Damian Lillard. Whoa. I don't think anyone is super shocked that they lost Damian Lillard. That relationship has been going south for quite some time. But it really was never going anywhere other than south. It was pretty tumultuous the whole time for different reasons. Cunningham is a piece that they also lost, but not major to me. Added, though, get this. Listen, stay with me on this. Cole Anthony, Gary Harris, Miles Turner, Bobby Portis resigns, Prince resigns, Rollins resigns, Gary Trent. I mean, the Bucks said, Giannis, please, no, don't leave. Do not leave. Let's give this one more chance. Let's reconcile and give this one more chance. And I think Giannis is going to buy in unless he goes to the Warriors, which was what I thought was going to happen. I was like, Giannis to the Warriors, it's happening. It hasn't happened yet. I don't think it is going to happen right now. But I do think the Bucks are on thin ice. You're on thin ice, pal. And I think they know that. And that's why they overloaded and added a lot of – I mean, you're losing Damian Lillard, which, again, he was never Dame time. He was never Dame time in Milwaukee, let's be honest, for different reasons. But you're losing Dame time. That is still a factor. That's a piece. And so for me, that's a big loss, but they gained way more than they lost. They gained much more than they lost. Miles Turner is a huge pickup. Gary Harris is a huge pickup. Cole Anthony is a huge pickup. Even, I mean, Sears, I think, is going – his minutes will be limited, but he's going to be a very successful pickup that I think will show very quickly. So for me, I think Milwaukee, this is their last chance with Giannis, and I think they know that, and I think that's why they made these moves, and I think they will have much more success than they had this last season, and then if they don't, I do believe Giannis is out of there. And again, maybe some of these teams that made less moves or moves for rebuild mode, maybe they're going to look into it, but I do truly believe he's loyal. He's a loyal player, and I don't think he's not just going to leave. So, yeah. I don't know. I would have loved to have him, though. Pal, if you change your mind, the Lakers would love to have you. Minnesota Timberwolves. Oh, sorry, a rating. Give me a B. I'm going to give them a B. I can't give them a plus just because they've been really middle of the pack unsuccessful the last few seasons and have not been able to get it done when it counts. So I'm going to give them a B. Moving on, we got Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota Timberwolves lost quite a bit 2 seasons in a row. This season, they lost less notable pieces than they lost last season, but they lost Garza, they lost Newton, they lost Walker. They lost some pieces that were decently big for them. They really didn't – they drafted 2 players. One mid-first round, one mid-second round. And so they made some moves. Where their offseason was more successful than other teams was their re-signings. They re-signed Joe Ingles, they re-signed Julius Randle, they re-signed Naz Reid. These are three pieces that have kept you in it and have given you legitimacy. And so for me, that bumps their rating up. A lot of these teams have had ratings based on players added and lost. Re-signings have really not made a huge difference. They've been a factor. These re-signings is why I'm the whole reason I'm confident giving them a B minus. I'll give them a B minus. And again, they drafted two pieces that could be really successful for them. So time will tell. Yeah, give me a B minus for the Minnesota Timberwolves. New Orleans Pelicans is a really interesting situation because they are another team that gave up and lost a decent amount, but also gained a decent amount. You're talking about Reeves, you're talking about Peyton, you're talking about Olynyk, you're talking about McCollum, you're talking about Bruce Brown, you're talking about players that came in and made a difference, some more than others, but you're adding Kevin Looney, you're adding Jordan Poole. Queen, I'm saying look out for these players, but Queen, I think we really need to look out for, and I think he's going to be a really good fit for New Orleans. And then again, we're talking about Dickerson, we're talking about Fears and the seventh pick in the draft. They had a really sneaky, successful offseason. And I think that the New Orleans Pelicans, their ceiling is a 9 seed. Their ceiling is the 9 seed, but I think they could get there. So give me New Orleans Pelicans because, in my personal opinion, they added more than they lost. They gained more than they lost. Give me a C, solid C. It's a good score. C's get degrees. They don't win you NBA championships, though. That's for sure. But C's get degrees. So give me a C. New York Knicks. This is an interesting one. New York Knicks, in my personal opinion, didn't really gain or lose all that much. Players that they parted ways with, Payne, Shamet, PJ Tucker, couple of pieces that were decent role players for them, but again, they kept their core players. They kept the players that helped them become the New York Knicks that are actually getting people to turn heads and not away, because usually they're turning their heads away and they're like, I don't want to watch this. People are turning their heads to watch New York Knicks games now. They didn't lose any player that is the cause of that. That is the purpose of that. They didn't do that. When we're talking about players they added Jordan Clarkson. That's a pretty big signing. Clarkson has been a journey's man in the NBA. He's played for several teams, but what has never gone away is what he does. He's a spark plug player. He's that sixth man type of guy, and they need that. They need that type of player. So for me, that's a big pick. They also added a coach. Put some respect on him. Mike Brown. People are so disrespectful. That guy, people are like, Mike Brown, why they? Seriously, why did they? That dude is a legend. Legend. Great coach. Has been, I don't want to say wrongfully fired, but has lost his job when he probably shouldn't multiple times. And that happens. Sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles. And that's how it's crumbled. But he's in New York, the Big Apple. I mean, this is basketball royalty. And Thibodeau was fine, but Thibodeau had so many flaws that I don't see Mike Brown having. So Mike Brown, Jordan Clarkson, you guys are all right. You guys are probably going to save New York. I'm just kidding. Honestly, Cat has done that. Another player that I've been like, oh, Cat's whatever. Cat has been responsible for helping save New York basketball. He really has been. And they have been such a disappointing team for so long, and now they're back. They're the team from the 90s, and maybe they'll get over the hump the team from the 90s couldn't. Honestly, truly, this New York Knicks team is exciting. Clarkson and Brown are two major, major additions. I am going to give the New York Knicks a B. A B. No plus, no minus. Give me a B. Oklahoma City Thunder, the champs, if you will. They did it. They pulled it off. This is another team that I was like, boo, not boo, but I was like, they can't do it. They did it, guys. They sure did. So shout out to OKC. They got it done. If Halliburton doesn't go down, guess what, guys? I'm taking the Pacers. But hey, you didn't hear that from me. OKC, biggest things they did were their re-signings. SGA, Chet, Jalen Williams, both Jalen Williams, I might add. Yikes. Are we so for real right now? Are we serious? Okay, you couldn't have just given one of them up? Wow. So you're telling me that we have to deal with that team for 5+ years. It's cool to have a team that I'm and maybe other fans are like, oh, I don't want to have to deal with them. It's cool to have that. We haven't really had that since the Warriors. We haven't had that. The 2020s have been so flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flop. I'd love to have a team that has a little more dominance, even if they get taken down as early as next postseason. Let them be a 70-win team again, and let's see who can take them down in the postseason. I love it. I hate it. I love-hate relationship when it comes to sports, and I definitely have that with OKC. So their biggest, and they had some decent draft. They had some decent luck in the draft, honestly. It's crazy because they've had so much luck building their team with draft picks and with signing all these different things, and it's coming to fruition, and they're still having success and setting themselves up for the future. So honestly, because they were able to secure every piece they were with their re-signings, I hate it. Guys, this is not fun for me. An A. I'm giving them an A. The NBA champions are getting an A. And no, let me say that again. No NBA champion in the last 5 years would have gotten an A for their offseason. Every team has screwed it up in the offseason, and that's why we've seen no repeats. No team has gone back-to-back. No team has been there. And OKC said, you know what? Let's be the team that does that, and I believe they will be. So OKC, give me an A, which, again, it's crazy to say that when they just made it to the NBA Finals. It's a breath of fresh air, I suppose. Orlando Magic lost quite a bit. But at the same time, they added Desmond Bane, which is a pretty big pickup. And they did re-sign Mark Wagner and Banchero. And that, again, it balances the scale because you lose a lot of role players, Caldwell Pope, Anthony, you lose all of these players that have been Gary Harris. You lose all these players that have helped you have a little bit of relevance, but then you add some depth and you re-sign 2 guys that have really made an impact, and you build around that. And the Magic are going to be an exciting team. And I think they could sneak with a 6 seed. I think their ceiling for me is a 6 and their floor is an 8. I think they've got a really good shot, and I think their re-signings were a big part of that. I am honestly going to go with – give me a C+. And I can't believe I'm raking the Magic and the Lakers in the exact same category, but it's happening. 76ers lost a decent amount of depth, but they added a decent amount as well. They added the 3rd pick in the draft, who is going to be an absolute nightmare. People are not ready. The Philadelphia 76ers added a lot of vet leadership with their re-signings of Gordon and Lowry. And then they added some of the best NBA talent, like young talent. I had a 76er take last year that didn't go well. I'm sticking with them. Again, they're my boys. They're not my boys. But they're not a bad team. Shout out my old assistant coach that I worked with. Not my assistant. We were assistants together. But no, Kevin. Shout out. But yeah, the 76ers are a team that is very disappointing, and they've had a lot of regular season success, and then they have bottomed out in the postseason. The players that they have added, personally, I feel like are going to really help them to not bottom out. So they've got a long way to come back from after last season, but they did, again, you re-sign and you draft and you do a great job, and I am excited to see what they do. Time will tell. I'm going to give them – did I already give them a rating? I don't know. I'm giving them a B. I'm going to give them a B. Phoenix Suns, Bradley Beal, Bol Bol, Kevin Durant, Cody Martin, Morris, Plumlee, you lost quite a bit. But you added Green. That's a really good pickup. You added Dylan Brooks. There's a time and a place for Dylan Brooks. You added Mark Williams. You re-signed Booker, which is a big commitment. That shows that he's bought in and he's not planning on leaving, which I wouldn't be planning on leaving if I was him either. It's his team. I think they're going to be more successful than they were when they had Durant. Again, but you lost players that you literally made a team. You built this team around this idea of this working, and it did not work. And it didn't work for a while. It honestly was not working pretty much the whole time. It really wasn't. I don't think the Suns situation was ever working. They were always trying to make up for inconsistencies and injuries, and it just was not a setup that made sense. It really didn't. So for me, the Suns are a step in the right direction, but because of all the inconsistencies, they didn't make any moves where I'm like, oh yeah, the Suns are going to be a top 3 team. There's no move they made that makes me think that. So I think the Suns are going to be a playoff team. I think they're going to have more success, but I don't think we're going to see anything crazy with a big jump right away. I'm going to give the Phoenix Suns a C- because again, I think everyone's going to be better off with the players that left. I think everyone's going to be better off, but I still, again, because you built that up and that was your whole idea, your whole everything was this team that is now no longer. That's a hit. So C-. Portland Trailblazers lost a decent amount. But you get Drew Holiday. And then, did I mention Dame time? It's Dame time. As a basketball fan, it makes me really happy that he's going back. That's home. That's as an NBA fan that's been watching since I don't know exactly when he was drafted. I should know these things. 2010, 2009. He's been in the league so long. And I'm probably totally wrong about that. But he's been in the league so long, and that was his home until he became a Buck, and it never felt right. It was like when Dwight Howard. It was like when Dwayne Wade went to the Bulls. It just didn't feel right. Even if there was a little bit of success here and there, it never felt right. Damian Lillard deserves to go home, and I truly believe that they are going to be a better team. I do think so. Now, Dame isn't going to be in right away. It's going to take some time. They're a team that I don't think is going to make the postseason. I think they're going to have another season that's a little bit underproductive. But because you got Dame Lillard back, that boosts it to a C. Yeah, it's a C. It's a C, guys. Give me a C. Sacramento Queens. Someone was like, oh, it's so funny. I'm not trying to be funny, guys. I'm not trying to be funny. They lost a lot. Fultz, Crowder, Jones, McDermott, Valanciunas, they lost a lot. Did they gain enough? Not really, in my personal opinion. But there's a slight possibility that they're going to be a better team because we're going to see a longer season with everyone that they've already had that had successful final stint of the season. We're going to see more of that. And I think some of the role players that they added will help with that and help boost their chances of going a little further than they did. So I'm going to give the Sacramento Queens a C. Lots of C's out here today. I'm just giving them out, I guess. San Antonio Spurs. You lost a little bit, but you gained some depth. You gained some vet depth. And I don't care about any of that. Guess who's coming back? Wemby. Wemby is insane, bro. Thank God he wasn't robbed from the league, but he was robbed a Defensive Player of the Year award because bro was averaging an insane amount of blocks. So just the fact that Wemby's coming back is major. They didn't really gain or lose enough for it to be too notable, so I'm going to give them a D. I'm going to give them a D. Toronto Raptors, they are a team that added a decent amount, both depth and players that they drafted and some young talent. So I do think the Toronto Raptors will be a sleeper team to be in the play-in, maybe, but we're going to have to see healthy full seasons from several of their higher profile players. So we'll see. Another D, honestly. Utah Jazz are interesting. They lost a decent amount. John Collins, Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton, but they added a good amount too. Kyle Anderson is a decent pickup. Kevin Love might get pushed again and moved again, but that's a good pickup. Nurkic is a good pickup. And then you re-sign a lot of your role players that helped keep you in and keep you super competitive. So for me, they added more than they lost. They lost a decent amount, but I do think they added more than they lost. I'm going to give them a D plus. They're still a D for sure, but I'm going to give them a D plus. Washington Wizards are another team that gained a decent amount, but also lost a decent amount. But I think they gained more than they lost. I really, truly do. I think that the Washington Wizards are going to be a sleeper to be a potential 10 seed. I've said that about a couple of teams, but I believe it. I truly, truly do. I think it's possible. So, Washington Wizards, give me a D. Thank you guys for tuning in. That was all NBA teams and their rankings. I think I gave away 3 A's, and none of them were to the Los Angeles Lakers. And we're going to get into a little more Los Angeles Laker talk right now because there is a couple of rumors that I want to address. The first, it's not a rumor, the contract extension for Luka. I believe that is this Saturday that he would be signing that. It is very crucial to the future of the Lakers that he does that. I am holding on for dear life and hoping that he does. And if he does, we're going to the casino, baby. We're going big. But seriously, if he does, I'm going to be very happy. I think he will. I think he is going to. And then I think that is going to signal a certain other Lakers star to stay, which is a LeBron James. And I'm going to keep it brief. I don't want to use up too much more time. But LeBron leaving the Lakers would break my heart. I would be very upset. He's been there since 2019, and I am not a LeBron fan. I've been a Lakers fan. My first ever Lakers game was the season after Kobe Bryant retired. I went and watched a Lakers Nuggets game when they had like D'Lo and all those players. And I was so excited just to see Nick Young of all players. I was like shaking. I was like, oh my God, he's right there. So the Lakers mean a lot to me, and it's not because of LeBron. But when LeBron came to our team, it was a really important time for me, and really like seeing LeBron suit up and have memorable moments has been a really big positive in my life. And so that being done would be really upsetting. There are aspects of LeBron's time as a Laker that I don't love, but I am not going to sit here and blame anything on LeBron or anything. He's not done a single thing that has put the Lakers where they're at. I could blame him all day long for the Russell Westbrook season with all those pickups and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, the front office is who makes the final decision. And the front office for the Lakers has made some very poor decisions. And now there's talks of the relationship has been strained since 2021. And it's like, I'm sure it has been. There's been a lot of different things that have gone on very negatively, whether that be success on the court or pickups that we have in the offseason or other things. I mean, there's been some super negatives in the LeBron James stint, but it's not LeBron James's fault. And I just hope if he does leave that there's no hate and there's no, I don't know. It's going to be rough. But on the other side, the basketball fan in me, seeing him play for the Cavs again as like his last stint would be super cool. I wasn't a LeBron fan when he played for the Cavs, but I didn't hate him. I watched the finals against Golden State, and I always rooted for him against Golden State because he's just a player you want to root for, and he made teams so much better. And so for me, as an NBA fan, it would be awesome, and I would be like, this is kind of cool. If he went to a team like the Mavs, that would not be the case. Warriors, which is one reason I'm wondering if that's what's going on with them keeping some of their off-season stuff open and not going too all in with anything. Warriors it'd be so fun to see him and Curry play. And I mean, I'd be going to a game to watch them play no matter where that was, because that would be a generational, oh my gosh, the team up would be insane. But it would break my heart, and it'd be really hard. I don't think he's leaving. Windhorst was like, this is the first time in his career that he hasn't like signed an extent, and it's like, well, I think he's done after this season. I think no matter where he goes, he's done. Luka re-signing, I think, will be a huge factor or signing an extension would be a huge factor in LeBron's. I don't think, and LeBron's maybe made his mind up no matter what that is. The Nuggets. Oh my God, people are like he's meeting with Joker's agent or whatever. And dude, if he goes to the Nuggets, I will hate him. I will be so mad. That will ruin any admiration I have for LeBron. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think I think that was just a ridiculous social media post that was made, but that would ruin it. The Mavericks or the Nuggets would be awful. Warriors, Cavs, I'd be like, yeah, okay, bro. Okay. Okay. But no, it'd be all right. It is what it is. You got to enjoy stuff while you have it, and when it's done, it's done. And that's the unfortunate part of sports and many other things. And it doesn't make it any less enjoyable or any less special. And so if LeBron does leave being a Laker, I will have love and admiration in my heart for him for the rest of his career and beyond that, because it has been really special. So I don't think he's leaving. Another rumor, and the biggest rumor, is Jaylen Brown to the Lakers. There's a rumor about the Lakers trading Austin Reeves and some other pieces for him. You can have my left arm. You can have my right arm. You can have my hair. Listen, if we can get Jaylen Brown, trade the whole team. I'm just kidding. But seriously, Jaylen Brown as a Laker I would be so giddy. I would be so happy, and I might even dance a little bit and skip a little bit. I'd be very happy. It would put an amount of joy in my heart that has not been in there, or has been in there, but now may not be in there. The absence of joy. So Jaylen Brown, you want to fix my depression? Come on over, pal. No, I'm either way. I've heard there's always rumors surrounding the Lakers. We're the Knicks of the West when it comes to rumors. This person's going to go there. That person's going to go there. None of them go there. But this, to me, holds a little bit of weight, especially if the Lakers are trying to make an environment that Luka wants to be in long-term and LeBron wants to stay in for the rest of his career. So I think LeBron is staying. I think he's going to play 1, maybe 2. It would be 2 if they win a championship. As much as people think LeBron would ride off into the sunset, I do think he would go for a back-to-back, because I'd put him at 6. But I also I'm not going to sit here and say, LeBron's it's a good time to retire, and that would be a good place to end his Lakers career. And again, the Lakers, if LeBron comes back, they are on the cusp of being one of those 10 teams that I can see winning a title. But they're not there. They're right on the edge of it. So Jaylen Brown would put them within the top 6. But again, that's another team that didn't have a full season with that setup. So time will tell. But I don't think LeBron's leaving. I think it's all rumors. And if not, yikes. It's going to be a rough one. But no, thank you guys for tuning in to Well Beyond the Arc. Sorry it was just me yapping for an hour and 14 minutes. David I miss him. David, please. If you hear me, text me back, bro. I'm just kidding. He's just busy. And this was an unexpected episode. Expect the unexpected, though. But we will come back. Probably either closer to the NBA season or at the NBA season, unless there's a major shakeup. We'll do an episode, whether that's me and him or whatever. But we will be back. We'll be on the Arc. Will return. In the meantime, the College Football Junkie TikTok account. I'm doing something right now where I haven't done any today or yesterday, I don't think. Maybe yesterday I did a few. But we're going to do a bracket of offense and defensive players in college football. I've done it'll end up being like 40 each, I think. And every single day I'm going to post votes to vote for players and to vote for who moves on. So that's going to be on my TikTok at the College Football Junkie, and tune into the College Football Junkie podcast, which will be returning because college football is returning. Something to smile about. Appreciate you guys. Check out, I think they're on break, but check out, hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm drawing a blank. I'm a terrible co-host. Mind of the Football Fans. Sorry, my brain is not here. Check out Mind of the Football Fans. I don't think they are doing any episodes right now, but check it out. Love you guys. Appreciate you all. And thank you for enjoying this show. I know some of my takes are crazy and I might pick some stuff that is out there, but I really enjoy talking sports, and we will be returning. So have a great rest of your week, and let's go. Basketball's one day closer, so we will return. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night, and thank you for watching. Oh.